Can we talk about your first time?
My first time? Yeah, in reference to what exactly?
The first role you were ever offered.
This thing called Guinevere Jones was a kids' TV series, and I played King Arthur, and it was basic. I didn't have any lines. I remember being pretty nervous about it, actually.
Who was the first person to ever encourage you as an actor?
I think my older brother. He had done an acting course and suggested I do it, and he was sort of the first, I guess, inspiration, and always said, yeah, go do it, it's fun, you love it, and that's how it that's how I got into it.
Do you remember the first actor who inspired you, someone you saw on screen?
I remember watching Brad Pitt a lot as a kid and just loving his sort of charisma and whatever he was doing, the type of films he was making. And prior to even knowing I wanted to be an actor, it was things like Never-Ending Story and Princess Bride and those kind of films that I just loved.
Do you remember the first time you thought about moving over here?
Yeah, it was when I was finishing school and talking to the careers advisor at school about, okay, well, what university are you going to sign up for? What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to be an actor. And she's like, well, okay, well, what's your backup? And I didn't really have one. There was nothing else I really wanted to do. And so, I put my head down and went for it.
What's the first fairy tale you remember loving as a child?
Well, my dad read to me and had very vivid memories of it. It was The Hobbit.
And the first time they called action on the Huntsman?
The first day is always a little sort of intimidating. You haven't worked with this person before, and actually it was with Jessica Chastain, who was, incredibly talented and intimidating for all the respectful, right reasons. It was like just not wanting to drop the ball. That's how I always feel.
Do you know when the first time you felt successful was? Do you ever feel like, yes, I've made it?
No, I think it's an ongoing, challenge. There's things you feel proud of, and then there's films where you feel like, I could have done that better, or I wish I'd done this or tried that.
And do you remember the first time you were recognised in public?
After Star Trek, I got recognised as Chris Pine. And then I was like, it's not. And they're like, no, you're Chris Pine, you're in Star Trek. I'm like, I was in it, but I'm not that character. Or often it's, are you Liam? I'm like, no. Oh, say hi to him for me. It was much lighter in tone, and there was a greater sense of adventure. First film, he was very depressed, darker sort of character, whereas this, we see him as full of hope and love. I think there were times when I felt bullied, but they'll tell you the opposite, I'm sure. No, it was great. It was like having three sisters, but all have such a great sense of humour. It's kind of one of the funnest sets I do. You want it to be different from the last, and doing things like that just helps sort of reinvigorate.
What do the kids think? Do they think you're playing dress up, or do they understand what you do for a living?
My boys are still too young, they're only 2, but my daughter, the first time she saw me as Thor, she was like, take it off, with the wig and sort of pulling it, the beard and everything, didn't sort of get it. And then now she comes and there's a sort of a second look where she's like, okay, you've got a wig on. And then she's like, oh, okay, so I now think she's starting to accept it. That was the castle, and then the next day she went to school and was telling everyone, that her dad works in a castle and fights the bad guys with the princess and the warriors.
When you go home, do you shut off the actor part of your world and just go right into dad mode?
Yeah, try to. I always find it takes a moment to sort of shake it. Just have to remind yourself to sort of switch off and, put the phone aside, and there's that sort of guilt where you wake up and go, hey, what haven't I done? I need to prep something, I need to do something. And it's like, no, you need to change the nappies. And hey, you. yes, you. Today is your day. You got this. You're absolutely crushing it at everything you do, from your job to maintaining a social life to pursuing your passion projects. You are killing it. Ignore anyone who tells you otherwise, because you're amazing. The only thing more beautiful than your smile is your personality. Yeah, I said it. You're more than capable to take on the whole world by storm. Speaking of the world, did you know that it's a better place because you're in it? I mean, your mum brags about you all the time. Dogs love you. You're strong, you're confident, you're intelligent, you're charismatic, you're the total package. On a scale from 1 to 10, you are an 11. You make me want to be a better man. You're bloody brilliant. You're brilliant. Don't forget it. Okay, do not forget it. And go out there, take the day by storm, and remember this: I'm proud of you. So